So Chaz, Jim Cornette came up with the Headbangers idea. I want to find out, how did he pitch it to you? What did you guys think of it? And feel free to throw in some Jim Cornette stories while you're at it.
So it's funny how he pitched it to us, because we were in Arkansas working for Burt Prentice, and Ricky and Robert and Tracy Smothers were coming over and doing spots for him. And we were working them when we were the Spiders. And every time they came back, we had a new tape. We're like, here, give this to Cornette, give this to Cornette. And Glenn knew Cornette from the early days at the Monster Factory and working with Carluzzo in North Jersey and stuff. So they kind of knew each other. So eventually one day we got a phone call from Cornette, and he said, hey, I got a spot opening up. I'd like to bring you guys in, but there's only one problem. We're like, okay, what's the problem? He goes, I hate the hoods. He goes, I hate the masks. I don't like the hoods. You got to lose them. And at this point, with Burt Prentice, we were lucky at the end of it. We were working 5-6 nights a week, lucky to have $10 in our pocket. I mean, there were some nights we didn't get paid. There was one night I did a cage match against Colorado Kid, color, the whole 9 yards, off the top of the cage. Got my pay envelope. It was heavy. And I was like, oh, cool. Biggest house we had. But it was heavy because it was $5, and it said, there was a post-it in there. It said, pay off $5 minus $1 for a hot dog, $1 for soda. It was $3 in nickels and dimes. So it was like, we got to get out. Cornette said to us, he goes, I can guarantee you $75. Some nights I'll be able to give you $100. He goes, it's 3 nights a week. And we're like, we're in. He goes, all right. He goes, but I have this idea. So we're like, okay. He said, and this is going to be a funny part. He goes, I was at a Glenn Danzig concert. Now
Jim
imagine
Cornette.
Yes, at a Danzig concert in New York. So like totally way out of where his comfort zone. A Glenn Danzig concert in New York. And he said, these guys were crazy. He goes, spitting on each other. He said, the way they were dressed, he goes, and then this performer came out, the opening act, had makeup on, was wearing a dress, had these like fishnets on, they had earrings. He goes, but it was like slam dancing. And I knew exactly what he was talking about, because I went to those over in Philly with my buddies. We went and did, in the mosh pit, slam dancing at the bank over in Philly. So I did all of that. So I knew exactly what he was talking about. And he said, yeah, so it turns out the opening act was Marilyn Manson for Glenn Danzig. So that's where Cornette pitched us the idea. He goes, not that I'm expecting you guys to get a bunch of tattoos and piercings or wear dresses or anything like that. He said, but I just think, he goes, with you being from the Northeast with your attitudes and the way you come across, he goes, I just think you could pull it off. So he said, whatever you want, we're in. So then it turned into, what do we wear? So the first TVs we showed up, we had no idea. And Cornette goes, all I know is you guys are the Headbangers. He goes, I think you may be MASH or Smash, and then you're going to be Thrash. And we're like, well, Smash isn't Demolition, so we don't really want to use that. So literally we were in the back trying to figure it out. So Cornette was like, so we had black shorts. I think Glenn wore high top sneakers. I had an old pair of work boots I had on. And Cornette had bought a Metallica shirt, threw it to Glenn, and he bought us a Slayer shirt, and he gave it to me. He goes, this is what you're wearing. So we're like, okay. And then he goes, they have like makeup on their face. So Glenn and I literally in the back with like face paint, like trying to put it on nice and neat. He's like, no. He goes, that's not how it works. He just took his finger, he dipped it, and he went like this on both of our faces. And he goes, that's all you have to do. Now go. So we were like, okay. So, and we still at this point didn't know our names. All we knew we were the Headbangers. So we go out and we do the match. We get done the match, and then Cornette said there's going to be a guy over on the side. He said, when you're done your match, you go over and you're going to do an interview. We're like, perfect. Now, when we get there, there was like literally 50 people in the audience. And Cornette said to us, he goes, I want you to go out there. I want you to scream. I want you to spit on people. I want you to blow your nose on people. We went over and we did the interview. There's this, I'm going to say, older gentleman, because I'm going to say his name in a second. You understand why I'm just saying older right now. And we do the interview. And while we're doing the interview, he has these really thick Coke bottle glasses on. I'm taking the glasses off and I'm like poking him in the ear, sticking him up his nose. And he was like, hey, so I'm here with the Headbangers. And I'm like, I think I'm Mosh or something like that. And you're what? Like, we legit didn't know our names. And the interview was so out of nowhere. And then I was, like I said, sticking my glasses in his nose, up his nose. Here was Les Thatcher. When I get in the back, Tracy Smothers looks at me and he goes, "Do you know what you just did?" And I'm like, "I did a match and we did an interview." He goes, "That's Les Thatcher." I had no idea who Les Thatcher is. But he's like, Les Thatcher would come back. So Les came in the back and I was like, "I am so sorry." He's like, "What are you sorry for?" He goes, "That was one of the most fun, greatest interviews I've ever done." He goes, "No one's ever done that to me before." He goes, "That was amazing." Yeah, so that's pretty much how we found out. And yeah, that was our first night in. And we got Cornette handed us each $100 bill. And we went back to the hotel. We threw it on the bed, and we were rolling around on the bed going, "We got $100. We got $100." Because literally it was more money than we had in our pockets in the last month.
That's awesome. Any epic Cornette rant stories? Anything you could share? Any good on the mind?
There's actually one from that night, that first night in. So we were taking the gangster spots, New Jack and Mustafa. So we came in and they see us and they look at New Jack, looks at Cornette. Cornette goes, "Do your replacements?" He goes, "What do you mean replacements?" Cornette goes, "You're finishing up. Like, they're going to come in, they're doing TV. You guys are going to finish on the road. And then they're going to come in, they're going to take the spot." And New Jack goes, "Well, what if I just quit?" Cornette goes, "Get the right now." Like, he started screaming. And then when he started yelling, like, New Jack stepped to him. And then, like, Tracy and everyone like stood behind Cornette, and they were all like, then they just kind of packed up and left. But yeah, no, I've seen Cornette throw monitors across the locker room. Those, you see on TV when everyone used to take the TVs out and put them on the floor before someone goes through the Spanish announcer's table. Monitors like that picked up, just thrown, smashed against brick walls. One memorable moment was, I don't remember where we were, but he had the barrier around the ring was literally a piece of string. There was two poles like cemented into little coffee pots, and then there was a piece of string. That was the barrier to keep the fans away. Cornette goes to step over the rope, and the fan grabs the rope and tries nutting him. Cornette, like it was no big deal, just turned around with the tennis racket, not flush, sideways, right in the side of the head. The guy goes down. He looks over at security. He goes, "Can you kick this guy out now?" The guy was laying on the floor.
Awesome.
Yeah, Cornette is the best. I owe from him, giving us the idea, the gimmick, letting us grow it into whatever we wanted to grow it into. And then he's actually the one who went into Vince and said, "Hey, I got these two guys. You need to take a look at them." And Vince was like, "Tell me about them." And Jimmy's like, "Well, you've seen them before. They've been coming up here and doing jobs." He goes, "They used to be the Spiders." And Vince was like, "Yeah, I know those guys. Just put them under the part-time contract then." And that's how we got started. So, I mean, from where we went, if we never got to Smoky Mountain, then we probably never would have made it to where we got to. And that's all thanks to Cornette.
That's awesome.
ProWrestlingTees.com. You can get your I Heart Beaver shirt. You can get your Headbanger shirt. You get your Mosh shirt. Yeah, that's it. Just go buy a t-shirt or something.